Okay, so what is a newsletter? A newsletter is a printed or electronic report containing news concerning the activities of a business or an organization that is sent to its members, customers, employees, or other subscribers. Newsletters generally contain one main topic of interest to its recipients, and that is just a definition from Wikipedia. But basically what you're trying to do is you are trying to connect in a personal way with people who are interested in buying your product. So why do you need a newsletter? You're a business, and you need, as an author, to understand that this is a mind shift that you really, really need to make. You make and sell a product. Therefore, you are a business. You are selling a product. You are a business, and you need to remind yourself of that constantly. When you communicate with people who are interested in the product that you are selling, you are creating a connection. And as humans, we need connections. We need to know that there are people who understand us, who understand what it is that we want and need. So newsletters are a tool to help you maintain a connection with people who you know are going to buy your products. Customer retention, of course. You want to keep the people who are interested in what you are selling. You want to keep them motivated so that when your next product is ready, you can immediately have a captive audience. Things work in connection with each other. So newsletter, social media, website, think of it as a cycle. You need to be bringing people to your website because that is something that you own. Social media, you don't own. And it can disappear tomorrow. We never know what's going to happen with these programs that we use. Your website is your own. You own the domain, and the information that's on it is yours. You also own your database. All those emails that you collect, they are yours. They are the people who are interested in what you have to sell. So that is something that you own, and no one can take that away from you. Again, we don't know what's going to happen with social media. For some reason, I don't know, maybe there's an internet virus and Facebook disappears for 6 months. What are you going to do? You've got your database. You can still communicate with the people who are interested in what you have to sell. So where do you do a newsletter? There are different ways and different places that you can do it from. You can do it from your website. So, for example, Wix. Wix has shout out, and you can do your newsletters straight from your website. Or you can use a newsletter creation and distribution service like MailChimp, ConvertKit, MailerLite. There are lots of programs available. Or you can just use your email provider. Whatever program you use, Outlook, Gmail, what's the Microsoft one, the Mac one, whatever. It doesn't really matter. You can use any of these tools to get your message out there. Because remember, you want to have people who are interested in your product, and you want to keep those people interested in you so that when your new product comes out, you've already got an audience to sell it to. You don't have to do as much work as your email list grows. When do you send it? Doesn't matter as long as you do it regularly. Consistency in everything you do as a business owner is essential, absolutely essential. If you decide to do it once a month on the third Wednesday of the month, you make sure that on the third Wednesday of every single month, you send that letter out. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. set yourself the goal of just doing it consistently. Some authors I know do it once a week, some do it twice a month, some do it once a month. Honestly, it's up to you, but whatever you decide, do it regularly. I prefer monthly. I don't think it puts too much pressure on me as the business owner. And it means that I have a whole month to think of what it is that I want to be telling people who are interested in me and what I have to sell. So monthly for me works. As I said, other people, weekly, twice a month, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Just be consistent. Commit to doing it regularly. Okay, so today I'm going to use MailChimp, and I want to try and do it live. So I need to stop sharing this and try and share my screen rather. I want to do that. MailChimp share. Okay, so today I'm going to just run through the basics of MailChimp. It is free up to, I think it's 5,000 subscribers. But really, all I want for you to take from this is the fact that it's not difficult to do a newsletter. That is what I want you to take from this. All the programs work in a very similar way. MailChimp is just one option. Okay, so if you go to MailChimp, if you don't have an account, create an account. And honestly, it's put in your name, your surname, your email address, password, and there you go. You are off to the next step. It's really step by step. So just follow the steps. I'm going to use my Tango with Text account because there are some things that I want to run through with you before we actually create an email. So first of all, at the top here, you can see I've got my profile. It's Kim, and the name of this account is Tango with Text. You click on that, and I will be sending you a PDF with screenshots. So just follow along. Don't worry too much about getting lost because this is in the PDF that I will send you. So Kim, Tango with Text, go to your profile. Go to settings. Well, first you just make sure that all of these basic information things are correct. So your username, first name, last name, your email address, and your website, because that comes on each mail. Right. So contact information under settings. Scroll down. And this is what I want you to take note of, please. This address section here and this phone number here. Please don't put in your physical address. Either just put Johannesburg and a fake telephone number, or put a PO box in. You don't want people to have your actual contact addresses, because your contact numbers, because you will be spammed. So the way to change it, edit contact information, little screen comes up. You can see I've put in a phone number of 082-123-4567. They've accepted it. It's obviously not my number, but it's a required field. Also, your contact address is required. I've chosen just to put Johannesburg in because that is the city I live in. I don't want people knowing anything more than the fact that I live in Johannesburg. South Africa is the country where I live. Johannesburg. Do I want MailChimp to call me? No. Save. Remember, each step, save. Billing information. You can see, actually, I've got nothing there because I'm not a paying member. Right, our next step, now that we've done that, which was very important, is we want to create a newsletter. So we go to create, top left. We want to do an email. Click on it. Create an email. Regular, automated, or plain text. Regular is what we are looking at today. Automated would be a set of emails that are sent to new subscribers to your mail list. So the first one would be, wow, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for subscribing. The second one would be, here's your free gift because you've used a lead magnet of some sort. So, you know, a short story or some drawings or whatever it is that you are giving away as a free gift. And the third one will be, I'm so glad you're here. You're now on the monthly mailing list. Look out for my next newsletter, which I send on the third Wednesday of every month. So we are doing a regular mail today. We need to give it a name. So this is going to be MailChimp tutorial newsletter. That's the name of my campaign. Okay, it's the name I use so that I can see in my list of newsletters that I have sent which each one is. So you could name your campaign newsletter 1 March 2020. Your next one would be newsletter 2 April 2020 or whatever. So that is the name for you. Who is it going to? It's going to all my subscribed contacts. I haven't tried to grow this list and it has 57 recipients, but that's fine. I'm happy with that. When I'm ready to grow my email list, then I will pay attention to that number. If you only have mommy, granny, auntie, uncle, and sister or brother in your mail list, don't worry. It will grow. You need to get into the habit of doing it regularly. I don't want to edit my recipients, and we're not going into that today. Who is this coming from? So I want to let people know that it's coming from me. My name is Kim, and my email address is kim@tangowithtext.com. You may have noticed that I set up this MailChimp account with a Gmail account. I don't monitor my Gmail account, but I use it to create many of the accounts that I need along the way. But I do want people to be able to respond to me personally when I send a mail. That is why the email address here in the from section is kim@tangowithtext.com and not tangowithtext@gmail.com. Please remember, once you've done that, save it. What is the subject of my campaign? What am I going to be talking about in this newsletter? I'm going to be talking about, well, obviously COVID. COVID-19. What are your coping mechanisms at this time? Okay, what do I want them to see underneath the subject line? I want them to see something catchy. So something like, oh gosh, I don't know. I'm running low on wine. Okay, have a look at the tips on the right-hand side of the screen. A great subject line gives your audience a reason to open your mail. So keep it short, keep it sweet. Emojis in small quantities. I don't like seeing emojis in newsletters, certainly not in the header, but again, that is your choice. Space is limited. remember the number of characters that you can use. Make sure you get all your words in. You don't want to have COVID-19, what are your coping mech, and nothing. So make sure that your number of characters is a complete sentence. And then when you've done those two, you can save. Now we get on to the fun part, where we actually design our email. MailChimp works on blocks, and it's one of the reasons why I actually like using it, because it's very simple. You've got many different templates that you can choose from. I tend to use one column or one column full width. I like the one column. It appears in the middle of your screen when you receive it, and you don't have to scroll from side to side to be able to see all the text. But honestly, you can choose any of these. They all work well. So I'm going to click on Basic One Column. And here we go. Right, this is what you are presented with. On the left-hand side of your screen is where you are going to be seeing what it is that you are putting into your newsletter. On your right-hand side of the screen are a whole lot of different blocks. And these are the blocks that you can use to actually put your newsletter together. So we start off with a logo. If you don't want to have a logo in your newsletter, that's fine. You just click on the delete block, and it's going to ask you if you want to delete it or not. Are you sure? Yes or no? I want it, so I'm canceling that request. This, if you have a block that you really like, if you like the formatting that you've done in it and you want to repeat it, copy and paste it. This is the tool to edit this block, okay? But you can just click on it and it comes up in the right-hand side of your screen. This block is asking for a picture. You can see here it's asking for an image. So I'm going to replace the image that is there with something that I've already uploaded. If I want to upload an image, if none of these that are here currently suit my purposes, I'm going to click upload and I'm going to find something on my computer. Let's go here. Oh wait, no, let's not go there. Let's go here, zoom, and I'm going to put in, I want to upload the Rosa logo to my newsletter. So it's uploaded it. There it is. I click on it and now I insert. How easy was that? You can change the sizing of whatever images you put in. The simplest way to do it is just to use this little scroll button. I think that looks quite good. Right. I can put a border on my image if I want. Let's do a groove, and I want to make it a little bit bigger. 1 pixel is not big enough. So let's say 20. And I'm going to change its color to those two. Okay, I don't actually like that, but this is a tutorial, so it doesn't really matter if I like it or not. Let's change it to that. Okay. Do I want to make the corners round? Let's have a look and see what happens if I do that. Okay, if I take it all the way to the end, I end up with an oval. I don't want it with this border, so I'm going to leave it square. It's a nice frame. Right, so now we've got something in the beginning there. Okay, I'm not interested in any of those settings for this image. Let's go to the next part, which is the first bit of text that you're going to put in. So I need to replace the text that is here. So what was the title of my newsletter? It was, How Are You Coping? So how are you coping, or what coping mechanisms are you using? How are you coping during these strange times? Okay, that's quite a nice heading to have for my first text block, but I want it in the center. So here we go. We have a whole lot of tools at the top of the editing block. So I can put it to the left, I can center it or justify it, or I can center it. And I'm quite happy to have it centered. Now I'm going to highlight and delete all of this because I don't want it. So how are you coping during these strange times? I'm struggling to get my mind around not being allowed. Oops. Allowed to leave home at this time. Okay, and then blah, 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 blah. So I'm just going to do that because we just need some text here. Okay, so now we've got our little block of text. If you have a look at this, it doesn't stand out very well. So what we're going to do is we are first going to change the color of this headline in our little text block. And that we do by going to the A that is underlined. Don't go to the one that is solid around the back of it because you will change the background color. And that always does not work. So let's choose a color. I'm working with rosa colors, so let's choose that color. And this text is very, very small. So let's have a look at changing its size. Maybe we want to make it 24. That's a little bit better. And maybe we want to change the font. Let's change it to Helvetica, or let's make it something that actually makes a difference in what we're seeing. I'll do the awful Comic Sans. Please don't use it in your newsletters though, but just so that you can see that it actually is changing. Let's just go back to Arial. Okay, now I can change the color of this text. So one of the other colors is green, so let's make it green. You can't really see it, but it does make a difference to the eye when the eye is reading the newsletter. I also don't want this to the left. I've put my heading in the center, so I'm going to put my text in the center as well, or I will justify it. But this kind of thing does happen, so I prefer to either center it or leave it on the left. Let's go to the style. The font, it says it's not specified, although we have, so let's make it Lucida. The size, we've already decided we're happy with that size. The color we've chosen. We've changed the centering. I want to make this a little bit wider. Okay, it's not showing me so let's just try and make it double space. There we go. Okay, because the text will read better with bigger space between it. So remember always when you are designing your newsletter, take into account the fact that you are not the one who is going to be reading this. Someone else is. Keep that at the back of your mind all the time. So there we go. I've done a little double spacing for the line height. Always remember, any changes you make, please at the bottom, save and close. So there's a lovely little text box. But I'm not finished with this text box yet because I want to maybe add a link. So I'm just going to go here and search for coping during COVID. I don't know if you can see this screen. There we go. There's a nice link. Children's storybook released to help children and young people cope with COVID from the World Health Organization. I'm going to copy that link from my browser, and then I am going to decide where I'm going to put that link. So maybe I said here, my children particularly are struggling at this time, but I found this lovely resource and I thought I would share it with you. Click here and you put the link in. At the top here, there's the chain. Click on it. It's going to ask you if you want to insert or edit a link. There's a web address, email address, anchor link, file or landing page. This is a web address. I have found this article on a different web page, and I want to send people to go and have a look for it because it might help them. In your advanced options, please always make sure that it's opened in a new window. You don't want people actually leaving your website because you don't want people leaving your website because your newsletter, because you want to keep their attention. So I've put the website address in and I want it to open in a new window. I don't need to worry about anything else there. Insert. Right, you can see now that these A's here have been highlighted. That is the word here, and it's got a link. If somebody receives my newsletter and they click on the link, it will take them to that particular web page. Right, I think that's good enough for this first block. So let's say save and close. Now I want to add something new. I'm going to add a divider because I want to separate this portion from the next portion. So let's put a divider in. You drag and drop. There's my block. Now I need to change what it looks like because I don't want a little gray line. I think that's ugly. So let's have a look. I want to make it a little bit bigger. So let's make it 10. And I want to change its color to, let's have a look, maybe in the green somewhere. Let's take it there. That'll do, but now that's too big. So let me rather make it 6. That's a bit better. And I just want a solid line. I don't want to make it dashed or dotted or spotted or anything like that. Clear, simple, keep it basic. You don't want to distract your reader from what's actually in your newsletter. Okay, so I'm happy with that divider. I'm going to save and close. Right, what do I want to do next? Maybe I want to put in an image card. Let's do that. Let's put in an image card. You drag and drop once again. So now I need to add an image. So I can either click here or just click on the picture, upload an image. So I'm going to add this image, which is a bunch of words. If I wanted to add an image that is not available on my MailChimp account at this stage, I would go, let me just deselect. I would go to upload from my computer and choose the file, upload it, and then I would click on it to insert it. Okay, so now I've got an image. Ew, not looking very good. So let's have a look. How are we going to make this look nice? Insert your caption text here. Okay, this is what I'm seeing at the moment. Word clouds in my head. Okay. So that's the text done, but that's not what I want to, that's not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about my image. So let's go to style and see what options we have. So I can make the text a little bit bigger. That will definitely help here. It's currently on a sort of dark gray background. I don't like that background at all. So I'm going to change it to, okay, we're working with rosa colors here. So let's do that. But not quite that dark, maybe. It's kind of move it around a little bit till we find something we're happy with. Okay, there we go. That'll do. I don't want it to have a border, but you can add a border. Just choose which one you want. Do I want this to be rounded? Can you see that I'm just trying these things to see what difference they make? If I think it looks pretty, I might keep it. That actually does look pretty. Then what else? That's all we've got under the Style tab. So let's go to Settings and see what we've got there. The text position, it's at the bottom. I want it to be at the bottom. And it's aligned to the left. I want it aligned in the center. Oh, look, and it moved my little picture. Yay! So now there we go. I've got an image on a background with some
Kim,
text.
sorry, can I just interrupt?
So I am going to save and close because we need to keep remembering to do that.
Kim, can you hear me?
And now let's see what we've done so far. So we've put in an image with a border, which we changed. We changed the colors to match whatever it is that our logo is. We've done a text block. So we added text. We changed the color of the text. We changed the alignment. And we added some extra text in because there is some that we want to stand out and the rest we want, you know, it's just the text. But we did add a link. Here is my link. I hope you can see it in all of these. You can see it better here. Here is my link. So when people are reading, they can click on the link if they are interested, and it will open in a new window. It's not going to close the newsletter, so they can easily come back. Mandy? Oh dear. Okay. Sorry, we're just missing a person. Let's have a look and see if we can get them back. Let in. Several people have actually been locked out. I wonder how that happened. Okay. Because of course I can't see this while I'm busy doing my screen sharing. So because it takes up my whole screen. So let me just go back to where we were. Stop sharing, and now I need to just bring it up again. Okay, so we're back to where we were. We were just doing a recap. We did the logo. We've done a text block. We changed what the text looks like. We've changed its color, its size, its position. We've added a link, which is these blue A's here are a link, but we've set it so that when people click on it, our newsletter still remains there. It opens in a new window. It's very important that you do that. You want people to stay on your newsletter. You don't want them being forced off it. We then added an image block, an image card, so we could change the background color to something that fits in with our color scheme. And if you have a website, you will, of course, have noted down the hashtag hex color. Let me just show that to you under style. So this color here, hashtag F2, 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 that's actually white in this instance. But you will have made a note of all of those colors on your website. And those are the colors that you need to use in your newsletter as well. If you don't have them, go and find them so that everything is consistent in whatever it is that you're doing. So you would just put in that whatever it is, hashtag F2, F2, F2. A man. Cancel. F2, F2, F2. Do we need another one? Okay, so you see, you just put your hex color in there and it will automatically change the background color. Let me just move that to down here somewhere. Right, so that we can actually see. Don't forget, always save and close. We added a divider because we want people to understand that we're changing topics. So the first bit was the subject of my email. How are you coping during these strange times? I'm struggling to get my head around, blah, 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 but here's a resource. Now, if you are clever, you can actually link that resource to a blog post on your website. That will then take them from your newsletter to your website. And that's a great way of getting people to actually go to your website. So we've put in a link, we've changed the text, we've made it look pretty. We've added an image card. Maybe we want to, I don't know, just have a button. Maybe we want to, I don't know, send them to our read this. Interesting article. Oh, can't spell apparently. Interesting article. Link to a web address. So I can go to www.tangowithtext.com and I can find an article. Play with words. Right. Okay. I actually have a sitemap on this, so I can go to my sitemap. And I can have a look at what's something I've done recently. Book launch, Tony Cox. Okay, and I highlight the web address that's at the top of the page. I copy it. I go back to my button and I paste in the web address. Okay, obviously, I mean, this article has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with the contents of my newsletter, but that for this purpose, it doesn't matter. Write an article, post it on your website, and give people a reason to go to your website. Advanced options, you always want to make sure that it opens in a new window. Okay, now we want to play a bit with our button because we don't want a blue button. So let's go here. Once again, if you've got your hex colors from your website, you can just enter those numbers. I'm using sort of reddish colors at the moment. So let's just come here. Let's try that. That's okay. Maybe I want to change the color of the text. Although it's currently white, it's probably the best because the black is lost. So let's just leave it like that. Again, you could just put in your hex color. Normal spacing is fine. The font I would change to whatever font I'm using for this newsletter. So Helvetica. Am I happy with the size? It could be a bit bigger, but there's a lot of text in that button. So I would probably leave it just like that. And I'm actually happy with that. Let's just see what it has here. We can align it to the center. We can send it to the left or we can send it to the right. Usually with a button, you want it in the middle and you want it to stand out. But please keep your colors consistent. The width, we can make it like that. I don't like it. I just want a button to be a button. So are we happy with that? Yes, save and close. Every step, save and close. And it brings you back to your blocks. All of these blocks work in exactly the same way. So you drag and drop. Then you can put in your content. You can change your font, the size of the font, the color. You can give it a background color if you want. you can position the text, you can add a link, you can italicize some bits, you can underline some bits. So let's see, if we want to underline that, we just underline it, and there you go. Maybe you want to highlight something like that. Maybe you're putting in a link and you want to make it bold. So you just make those words bold, and they all work in exactly the same way. Save and close. Okay, now I actually want to put this divider further down in the page. So I'm going to duplicate it. I am then going to grab it and I'm going to move it down. Simple, simple, simple. Maybe I want to do another text block, but I'm happy with the settings in this one. So I'm going to duplicate that. There I have it, but I don't want it beneath that one. I want it underneath my divider. I'm going to just move it. I can then come here and I can change the text that is in here to, onto my next subject. Oh, but actually, no, I don't want that there. So I'm going to delete the block. Click on delete, and I'm going to press delete. It will always ask you if you are sure. Sometimes it asks you to actually type in the word delete in capital letters. So you have a chance to confirm that you actually do want to get rid of whatever it is. And you just build your newsletter in that way. The last thing you need to check is that you have your social links in here. So Twitter is one of them. So mine is Tango with Text. Whoopsie. Tango with Text. Facebook.com/Tango with Text. I can also go to each of these social media platforms and click on my profile and get the correct link there. I don't want my website link going to MailChimp. I want to make sure that it goes to my website. So https://www.tangowithtext.com. Please don't forget to check all of these before you leave, before you send your newsletter out. You don't want people going to places that don't belong to you. You can add another service. You can put in your email address if you want. There's an RSS feed. There's whatever that is. I'm actually looking for Instagram. Dribble. Good Lord. Flickr. Okay. Instagram doesn't seem to be coming up. Oh, I know why. Because I'm being silly. Okay, so let's see if it's here. Instagram, there it is. And I can put in my Instagram profile. Just don't overwhelm your newsletter readers with a million connections. Choose which ones you actually use. So I want them to have access to my website, and I am active on Facebook. So those are the two that I'm going to make sure are there. The others I so infrequently use at the moment that I actually don't even want them to be there. So choose which ones you want them to go to, because if they enjoy what you are sending to them, then you need to give them easy access to other ways to follow you. If you are currently promoting your YouTube channel, only put your YouTube channel and your webmail address in there. You can cycle them every month. Put a different social media profile on. So maybe this month I'm going to put Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Next month I'm going to put Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr. The following month I'm going to do Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. So all those different places where people follow you, don't overwhelm them with choices. Just do 1 or 2 or 3, and then next month do a different 1 or 2 or 3, because you can change them. So I don't want Instagram. I've actually deleted my website, so let me just add it back. tangowithtext.com. The information is there, so that's all I need to do. I am going to now save and close. Right. So remember earlier I was talking about when you set up your account, you need to go into your account settings to change a few things. Don't put your actual physical address in. And honestly, for me, for safety, I wouldn't put my actual phone number in either. And this is where that information is displayed. You have no control over this when you are drawing up your newsletter. That is set in the settings under your profile. It's automatically put in by MailChimp. It is required. And the only way that you can control what is put in there is by changing your settings in your profile. Okay, so now I've got a newsletter that I'm happy with. I am going to decide whether I want to use this again as a template, because maybe I'm so enamored with the design that I've created that I want to use it for all my newsletters. So I can save it as a template. I can save this design as a template. You just click here. You give it a name. So this would be Heavenly Newsletter. Okay. I can't spell, but that's okay because it's only for me to see. I'm going to save it as a template so that the next time I want to do this, I can just come back and I can use that template and just change, the pictures and the text. I don't have to redraw it from the beginning. I'm going to return to my campaign because now I want to preview this. And you've got several ways of doing that. You can enter preview mode, which I will do just now. But what I seriously suggest you do is send a test email. Send one to yourself so that you can have a look and see what it looks like in your inbox. So I would send it to kim@tangowithtext.com. And if you're going to send it to others, maybe you've quoted somebody and you want to make sure that they are happy with the quote that you've put in, or you want to send it to a proofreader to check the language, the spelling, whatever. You can add a little personal message saying, this is the latest newsletter, please check it. And then you just send the test. Now that's going to go into my inbox, which I'm not going to go and have a look at now. Let's just wait for it to finish sending. Okay, so bon voyage, test email, yay! So now I can go to my inbox, I can download my emails, and I can have a look at this newsletter that I've just created in my inbox. But I don't want to do, I'm a bit busy right now, so I don't want to faff around with this anymore. So I'm going to go to continue. And I want to finish this later because, I've just run out of time. I've got to go and fetch the kids. And I haven't got time to go and have a look at my preview. So I'm saving the draft and I'll come back later. When I come back later, I log in the normal way. Here is the one that I was working on. This, my first newsletter, that's the one that you will get the screenshots of. And I want to edit it. Because when I actually had time to go and look at the preview that I sent, I found a couple of spelling mistakes. So let me just go and change those spelling mistakes. So let's click on this block. This should have been BBB, and this should have been NWS. Okay, save and close. Okay, so I've made any changes. I've added more blocks. I've done whatever that to finish off my newsletter. Let me just go and check it one more time. I'm going to enter preview mode. Okay, so here is my newsletter, what it's going to look like when it arrives in my inbox. Okay, that's quite pretty. If you remember, I told you the settings, MailChimp puts that in automatically. So Tango with text, Johannesburg, Johannesburg, Gauteng. It does not have my actual physical address, and it does not have my real phone number. Remember, this is required by law, but that is the only way that I found to get around that. So it's going to whoever, it's coming from me. The subject is COVID-19, what are your coping mechanisms? And the preview text is I'm running low on wine. What does it look like on somebody who receives it on their phone? Let's see if, our spacing is okay. Yeah, that looks okay. It's actually wrapped that text quite nicely. Yes, I'm quite happy with that. Let's go and have a look at the inbox. See what it looks like. Apparently that's not allowed on a free thing, on a free subscription. That's fine, because you know what? I've sent it to myself. I don't need to see it in a preview. Okay, continue, because I'm happy with what we've got. Okay, why is it not letting me send it? Let's go back to edit. Interesting. Continue. Okay, maybe I've lost connection. But normally what would happen is, just get back here, this continue button will change to, let me check on my screenshots. Should say, are you ready to send? I don't know why it's not doing that today. Okay, let's go to finish later. Okay. Okay, it's not letting me send it. So what happens is it comes up with a button that says send to your audience. You click on it. If you are happy, you click on it, and off that goes. And then you've sent your first newsletter. Now, it's taken us just under an hour with me talking to show that to you. So I hope, I'm going to pause, I'm going to stop sharing now so that I can actually come and have a look at the questions and comments. I hope that you managed to follow along. I will be sending the screenshots. If you want, what sort of content? Okay, authors, just be very careful of putting links to other authors. There's a time and a place for everything. When you are trying to connect with your readers, you want them to connect with you on a personal level. So make sure that your content is personal and that it's going to resonate with your readers. I don't recommend putting in picture after picture or link after link or button after button of sales of books that are happening, or check out my author friend whatever's books. Just have one or two. People get very tired of newsletters which try to sell them stuff all the time. So keep it simple. One or two links. If you are doing a newsletter swap, make sure that you time it so that you are not having 6 different authors sell buttons on your newsletter at the same time. Growing a newsletter database is one of those slow things, but persistence is what matters. Keep going, keep trying to build your list. Use different methods to build your list, absolutely. But when you are sending to people, remember that they have connected with you, not with 26 other authors. They've connected with you. So when you are putting sales links in, keep it to the minimum. Don't put in only sales links. We often get newsletters with those pretty images of, I don't know, whatever. It's time for romance. We've got 30 authors selling their books at 99 cents. Go and check it out. Only put one of those in. Don't put in 4 or 5. Rather try and use something much simpler like a button. Want to see something that I've read recently that I enjoyed? Click here. Rather try and titillate them than say, buy this book, or here's 26 authors who are offering their book at 99 cents and I'm one of them. Rather say, at the moment I'm part of a group of authors who are selling their books at 99 cents. Click here with a button or a link. Click here to see what's on offer. Keep the selling in your newsletters to the minimum, because what you want to do is you want to just keep them interested so that when your new release comes out, they don't mind receiving something that's full of buy me, buy me, buy me. Newsletters keep the connection with the people who are very interested in what it is that you have to sell, but you're not trying to sell to them all the time. You want to just keep them interested in you so that when your next item is ready for release, they are actually going to click on the button. So yes, it's great. It's great to share other people's work, share their news. This one's got X amount on sale, but keep that to a minimum. You only want 1 or 2 of those in it. Your content should focus on you and the connection that you are building with your reader. So a lot of authors' newsletters that I receive use a pet, for example. So Sean uses darkness, and I love that because I'm an animal person. So I want to know what darkness has been up to. I don't really want to know about 26 other authors who've got sales on. I want to know about darkness and how Sean is coping in this time. So that is something that I really like about her newsletter. Somebody else's newsletter that I received, not an author, she's actually a marketer. Her newsletter has no images in it, nothing. It has black text, and when there's something that she wants to share with you, it's always a link to her blog, and it's in a different color, highlighted in a different color. No images whatsoever. So, you can do a lot with your newsletter. But remember that you want to keep people interested in you and what it is that you have to sell. So it's great to be advertising other people's stuff. Just keep it to a minimum. And make sure that you're going to actually get something out of it. So if I'm sending you off to buy Pete Poppy's book, make sure that at the same time, he is doing the same thing in his newsletter. He is sending people to you to go and buy your stuff. Yes, how often should you send a newsletter? It doesn't matter as long as it's regular, but I recommend that you start off with once a month, and choose some arbitrary time to start off with. So like the third Wednesday of the month, and every third Wednesday of every single month you send a newsletter. Whatever you do, just make sure that you send it regularly. Social media moves at such a fast rate that the stuff that you are posting on your social media might not be seen by the people who are subscribed to your newsletter. So whatever you do, keep it consistent, and you want to keep that connection going. Different authors do it at different times. I've got one author who sends once a week, and I'm about to unsubscribe because it's pretty much the same thing every time. She talks about her kids and her dogs and, you know, what she's doing to survive and blah, 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 blah. But it's really nothing new. I do think that once a month is a good time limit because things have happened in a month. So you've got something to talk about. Images are very important. Try and keep them small. Remember that people have data limits, and if your images are big, they will make the file size big. So try and scale your newsletters down. If you're using something like Pixabay or whatever for images, download the smallest size that there is and use that. Should content from Facebook be included on your newsletter? Yes, absolutely. Remember that your newsletter and your social media are ways for you to connect with people who are interested in the product that you have to sell. So maybe the way that you could do it is write a blog post, put it on Facebook. If you are trying to drive if you want to drive people to follow you on Facebook, then what you would do is you would share that blog post into Facebook, and you would take that link and put it in your newsletter. Have you read my latest blog post? Or are you following me on Facebook? This is the latest thing that I posted. That will send them to your Facebook page. If they like what they see, they will follow you. But it also links them to your website. So all the time you're trying to keep the spider web of links going. I don't often recommend, well, actually that's not true. I recommend that you put links in your newsletters, but only links that are relevant to what it is that you're talking about. So at the moment, any newsletter that I send out will include something along the lines of how are you coping, or changing your mindset, or let's have fun, or something during these strange times, because everybody's in the same boat. And whatever it is that you're feeling, I guarantee you the people who are following you are feeling it too. So I would put a link into something like the World Health Organization, something that is a reputable source. Okay, remember, reputable source. And I would put that link in my newsletter. But I will always put a link to something on my website, because I want people to go to my website, because that's where that's mine. I own it. Nobody can take that away from me. Unless I forget to pay for my domain, it will always belong to me. I can move it. I had a Wix website for Tango with Text. It just got a bit expensive for me. So I moved it to AfriHost. AfriHost hosts my website now, and I'm using WordPress to design my website. So that domain name belongs to me, and everything that is in that domain can be moved. It can be moved from this provider to that provider to the next provider, but it belongs to me. So my newsletter, depending on what it is that I want to achieve with each newsletter, but it will always have a link to something on my own website, because I want people to see my website. I want them to see the brilliant stuff that I do. So it will always contain something on a link to something on my website. Any other questions? Because of course I forgot to put a glass of water next to me. So my throat's getting a bit dry from talking. I'm just going to go back up to the top and just check if I've covered all the questions. Okay, right. Yes, love the header. Yeah, my fake newsletter. Yes, one column is great because many people read on their phones. If you put more than one column in, what programs tend to do is they tend to take the 2 or the 3 columns and put them one underneath the other, and often it distorts whatever's in those columns. So one column, just keep it simple. Honestly, just keep it simple. Yeah, color codes, Google, you can find the color codes, but keep them consistent. Make a note of them somewhere, and keep your colors consistent. So if you have a website, which I recommend that you do, whatever colors you are using on your website, use it in your social media, use it in your newsletter. Keep things consistent, because that is your branding. Bottom line, that is your branding. Right. Yeah, good to see them actually. I've never made it. Okay. Yes, content we've spoken about. Please make sure that it's something that your readers are going to want to read. Okay, you're making a connection, so keep a little notepad next to your computer, or in your handbag or whatever. Things that happened. My dog at the moment is eating my son's socks. So every time I go and do poo pickup, what am I finding? I'm finding socks in his poo. Now, I wouldn't necessarily put it that way, but I would make a little funny story out of strange things that my animal is doing during lockdown, because he's not getting out, just like me, and he's eating all my son's socks. So I keep finding my son's socks. Thank goodness for all the rain, because, it makes it easier to pick up the dirty sock and put it in a bag with a pair of tongs. But, whatever is on your mind is going to be on other people's minds. Yes, always keep it simple, stupid. Absolutely. One column, try and keep it on one column. There are people who like to get quite fancy in their newsletters. Honestly, remember, people's attention span's very short. So don't have a newsletter that they're going to have to page down 6 times on. Keep it relevant. So what's happening in your life that you think your clients, your customers would like to hear about, and maybe a link to something interesting to read, a link to something on your blog. And I read this fabulous book recently. I would love for you to read it and give me feedback. Here's a link, and that could be a newsletter swap that you're doing with someone. And one sale promotion thing. And really, that's all you need in your newsletter. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Right. If there are no more questions, I'm going to stop the recording. You're very welcome to contact me, kim@tangowithtext.com. with any questions. If you get stuck, we can do a little Skype meeting or a team viewer or whatever you want. And I will just help you over the little bumps that you hit along the way. But don't be afraid to play with MailChimp, because everything is in a draft form until you actually send it. So don't be afraid. I'm familiar with MailChimp. I haven't really explored MailerLite or ConvertKit or whatever, but I'm sure that they are the same. Everything stays in draft form until you actually hit the send button. So don't be afraid to play. You can delete the block if you don't like it, but fiddle with all of those little buttons. They're all there for a reason, and they can make things just look that much more professional. So kim@tangowithtext.com, or I'm on Facebook. You can send me a message or whatever. You're welcome to contact me, and I will help you over any little blips that you encounter. So have fun, get your newsletters out regularly, and I will look forward to signing up for them when I see the links in Facebook, because that's where I am. And yeah, stay safe, stay well. Cheers, everybody.